Hey, how's it guys? Hope you're having a lovely Sunday. This is I'm Lasso. I'm the developer of Freja and False Prophecy, along with my girlfriend Romy and Frank and a couple of other guys who are helping out. Um, I thought it might be interesting for you guys to play through the demo with us, and we can go through some background information and things we messed up on and things we really like. Um, yeah, anyway, so without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so when we created the demo, we wanted to create a little narrative about a self-contained story in the demo, without revealing too much of the storyline. And yeah, we sort of came up with this demo where Freya's been attacked by some Vaga, and she needs to find a way home. So one of the challenges of the demo is that it needs to appeal to a broad range of people, and for a story game, we didn't really want to reveal any of our story. So while we built a lot of story-related stuff, we didn't want to show too much of it, and yeah, we wanted to build something that had a lot of the mechanics and a little bit of storytelling. And it proved to be quite challenging, but I think we got something cool. So I'll play it out here. Freya starts off injured. So I'm going to tell you a little about these narrative texts. So if you see, there's a little narrative text that comes up. We thought about this a lot. Basically, we're thinking, okay, cool, do we stop the player and force them to heal? Or do we put these narratives so that they can continue playing, and hopefully out of their peripheral, they spot these things and take notice of them. And the play placing was really complicated because some people did and some people didn't, and we weren't sure, should we pause or should we just continue? And eventually we really trimmed them down, and we thought, okay, leave the player, let them have control. So we have noticed a lot of people play the game, they like to be very active, and they sometimes miss these, but it was a difficult one because we also didn't want to break the immersion and stop the player, and so now this was a very difficult decision to make. So we're going to heal up, and let's get going. Yeah, so we're moving along here. Off we go. So some of the backgrounds here, if we had a bit more time, we would have worked on sprucing up these backgrounds here. We're very happy with the sort of mid-ground elements. The trees and stuff, I think, came out really nicely, and the foreground elements. The backgrounds here, we use a thing called Fur2D to create these shapes, which is really handy. But the backgrounds in the demo are not as polished as our main backgrounds, because the backgrounds actually take a hell of a lot of time to assemble. There's different layers of parallax, so if you jump, you can see this backplane moving. All these things are placed at different depths, and to create this parallax effect. Okay, off we go. We actually had a lot of bugs here. Every time you died, a lot of weird things would happen, but we managed to fix it up. Anyway, moving on. Okay, space for W, jumping to execute a double jump. We actually had a very funny thing with double jumps, is we used the sound effect too often, so it really sounded like she was running a marathon when you were doing a lot of jumps. Cool. Cool, and you get to this little thing and you need to break it, smash it. It's quite satisfying. These little spiders were quite a late addition, and they were really fun to make. They were very easy to make, and also they add kind of, when we first had the demo, we didn't have these spiders, and it would be quite a little bit quieter than we wanted. It wasn't like quite enough interactivity in the demo. So adding the little spiders around was really fun, and they were easy to make, and they're very satisfying exercise, I must say. Oh, this is one of my favorite parts, actually. So this is him sticking there and he's sharpening his sword. I love this animation so much. It's quite cute. It's him and he's like not paying attention. But anyway, whatever, let's go. Greetings, stranger. I am lost indeed to find. Oh wait, that's Freja talking. Wrong voice. So some dialogue. He's Stiggender. So the idea behind Stiggender is that he's this companion that Freja meets, and without giving away too many spoilers, later on in the game you'll actually have a deep interaction with him. So you'll go on adventures with him, and you know, he might get into trouble at some point and you might have to save him. Who knows? So this is our character, and we wanted to like take a real stereotype of like this Viking, but he has a lot of frailties as well, which will be revealed later in the story. But right now we obviously wanted to give him, just to kind of introduce the player and not give too much information away about Stiggender and his character, because I don't know, it's difficult, you know, having a demo is you want to give away just a little bit, but not too much. So some might say, oh, he doesn't have it well enough to be a correct character in the demo, but I think we intentionally just watered him down just to give it like more of a mystery element to him. Anyway, so he is Stiggender, and he is a, you know, he's quite this hardcore Viking. Freja, she was attacked and she needs a way home. Aha, so here's the foul wench Angerboga, and she's got a ferocious pet Vargo. So one of the things we wanted to do as well with Stiggender is that he's actually afraid of the dark, but you don't know that yet. You'll find that out later. Cool. So we have a little dialogue, and off we go. Okay, so a lot of people, coming up as the first bat encounter, and a lot of people had a lot of problems with this bat, because what could actually happen was the bat would be able to attack in an arc, and he could attack behind you. So if you blocked an attack, the bat could actually attack over you and around you, and a lot of people found that really annoying. So we managed to patch that up. Let's just get rid of this annoying bat. Another one. So another problem we have is in games, is in kind of open world games. I'm just going to run back to the beginning quickly. Is we want the player to go down here. And when we first had the demo, in the first few iterations of the demo, and when we released it at some festivals and things, the players would always go up, because inherently there's this kind of, I don't know what it is, but it's like an inherent reflex that up is the way to go and down is not the way to go. It's just quite frustrating for us, because we've laid out this whole level. So we increased the distance here between this element here, this jumping platform, and we created, I don't know if you can see, just a subtle visual effect to try and guide the player down. So it is an open world, so you can travel in any direction you want and come back and pick up things you missed, but ideally we actually wanted the player to go downwards. So off we go. Then I'm going to go downwards, because I know what I'm supposed to do. Cool, down we go. So there's going to be a little music change here, which I quite like. Okay, so block. There's another annoying spider. Whoops. Actually, I'll just kill the spider because I'm not a completionist. Let's heal a bit. Oh, sure, but okay, so this is one of our funnest abilities. I really enjoy this ability, and we wanted to create an ability that helps you reach hard to reach creatures, sort of like bats and annoying spiders and like all sorts of other annoying things that are troublesome. So in the final game, we'll have a lot of different things coming at you at the same time. You know, there'll be like some bats and some this, some different challenges in combat. So you need different tools to deal with these challenges. So one of them is your lightning ability, which is quite handy. That's quite good at dealing with small minions that can be quite pesky. Right, let's go up. Oops. Okay, so I just want to show you the lightning ability again. Oops. So it's really satisfying to kill these spiders. Oh, that little visual effect there. Cool. Okay, this is a tricky wall. There we go. So another thing we'd like to do is, if you look at the hazards, I'm going to come down here for a bit, is we need to bring attention to these hazards, you know. So what we've done currently is we've set up sort of lighting, so you can see the sort of rim lighting here. But I think what we will do in future is we'll add a sort of shimmering shader, so that there's a shimmering effect on all these things, and they can really pop from the environment and show you like, hey, this is a hazard. So we'll probably do the same thing for many of the hazards in the game. Okay, let's go up. We've got our lightning war cry. Oh, whoops. There we go. Okay. Another annoying little spider. Boom, die scum. So this bit was really annoying with the double jump sound effect, because it would just sound like she was wheezing, you know, it was absolutely terrible. So it doesn't play it as often anymore. This is one of my favorite little things, and we want to add a lot of these sort of interactions in the final game, is small environment sort of animations and interactables that you can encounter. So like with this little raven, you know, as he flies away, that for me is very satisfying, and I think that's going to be one of our focuses in the final game, to make like a lot of little interactive effects and elements that are really satisfying and add a depth to the world, you know, so to speak. Okay, cool. I'm coming up to one of my worst implemented enemies, I think. The wolf. So the wolf was the first enemy we ever implemented, and we made a few mistakes with him. One of the very challenging things about him is that his body shape is shaped sort of like a rectangle, and that actually makes it very challenging, because at first, you know, the player can just stand in the middle of this wolf, and the wolf can't do anything. So we had to create special reactions to this. So if you overlap with the wolf, he does a sort of jumping reposition, and that caused some other problems, because you could then jump off the edge of cliffs and you would get confused, and it was quite annoying. So this is one of our, I'd probably say, least polished enemies. This is one we'd like to revisit and adapt. I think what we might do is create like a sort of a pack mentality, so when you have more than one, they sort of attack in sequence, and they, you know, apply different status effects and things. Anyway, let's go kill this wolf. Whoa. Oh, looked like he bugged out there a little bit. Whoopsie. It's obviously going to bug out when I'm making a video. Okay, cool. So it's coming out to our spirit vision, and initially it was just to slow time so that you could get past obstacles, but we realized another cool thing we could do is like reveal different spirit elements. So I think in the future game, a lot of story elements are going to be in the spirit realm, where you can see a history of what's happened in the game. You know, so if you go past a war zone and you activate your spirit vision, you might see a battle happening which happened in the past. So it's kind of a sort of parallel dimension, slow time kind of modifier, and yeah, we really like it, and we want to leverage this concept quite a lot in the actual game itself. So activate it here. It's quite cool. Get over this annoying. Boom. Boom. Let's activate this waypoint, and you can deactivate it again if you want to. Okay, some little jumps. This is probably the section of the demo we were most disappointed about. You know, running Kickstarter actually takes up a hell of a lot of time, and we mismanaged the time we would need. So actually making the backgrounds of this area are a bit dull, which was disappointing, but you know, there's the Kickstarter running and we have a very small team. It was very hard to go back in and revamp this area. So also what happened in the demo was that we actually built the demo, it was a little bit smaller, and then we expanded it, and when we expanded it, our previous vision wasn't perfect. So this area is not as exciting as we would have liked in terms of visual fidelity. Although I like the water effect. I really dig the water. It's kind of hit the mark there. That push can be quite challenging. So here's a troll coming up soon, and yeah, I'm just gonna kick his butt because I'm an expert in this game. Oh. Oh, Sherbet is actually giving me a... Oh no, oh no, oh no. Cool, easy. We actually had a weird problem where sometimes his hand would disappear. Actually, we still haven't figured it out actually, but luckily not too many people have noticed it, but it's a very troublesome bug where occasionally during animations his hand would just vanish, and this is really bothering us. It took so long to try and figure out, but it seems to be working quite well these days. So, cool, off we go. I really like this little tree stump and the art, and I like the way, if you check it out, the lighting, actually we have a fade here, so kind of creates this element of darkness and ominousness. So here's our little spirit gate. We actually had a bug here where if you ran back and forth, even if you hadn't collected all the stones, so if you ran back and forth, then the gate would eventually open. So that was a very weird bug to find, because a lot of people would come up here, the first demo version, and they'd be like, they'd miss the lightning completely, get here and still get through. And so we fixed that in a bit of patch, first patch or second patch. Okay, Angerboda. So one of the most challenging things programmatically was the managing these two different entities individually. You know, one guy's got to do something and they need to be synchronized together. You know, as the Angerboda comes down, skull goes up. I don't know, if you look at the design of Angerboda, we actually tried to make it quite attractive. I mean, she is known as the Hag of the Ironwood, but traditionally Hag here was like a magic woman. You know, didn't refer to someone who was hideous or ugly, and we actually wanted quite an attractive feminine character playing her. She is also a giantess, so she's a bit larger than Freja. I think a lot of the enemies that Freja will counter will be quite a lot bigger than her. It was tricky because we weren't sure how hard to make this fight, and you know, we didn't want to throw too many things at people at once. You know, we wanted like people to be able to play through the demo and enjoy it and not feel frustrated by the boss, but also feel like the boss was a challenge. So yeah, off we go. The music design of this was also really important for us. We tried to really create a musical impact in the scene. So I hope that people enjoyed the music in the scene, because we were really happy with the outcome. Okay, let's go kick this witch's butt. Okay, she's Angerboda, Countess of the Ironwood, ruler of my domain. Okay, Freya's cool. She's just like, okay, let me go, please. And Angerboda's like, no ways. So, just to go into the story element, same problem as before, same thing we had to consider was that there's more of a story element with Angerboda and Skull in the final game. But in the demo we wanted just not to reveal too much as well about how she's involved in the world. So she's quite, it's kind of disappointing. We're a little disappointed because she is kind of just plastered there as a kind of a gate, you know. But in the final game, she's got a much more active role, and it's quite a long time before you encounter her. So there's more of a build-up, there's more anticipation, and also in the final fight, in the final game, she's going to have a few more attack patterns, and you know, we're going to make quite a lot of adaptations to her. But yeah, anyway, let's keep going. Freya's like, cool, you know, get your butt kicked. Okay. Watch out for these balls. Whoops. Oh no. Ah! Oh no. Whoops. Missed. It's dicey, it's dicey. Okay, it's almost dead, we're getting there. Whoopsie. I don't want to die now, that's going to be very disappointing. Oh no! Oh no, my heal! I'll wait for my heal to get up. Okay, so she's gone. Okay, thanks for playing. Well, thank me for playing. That was quite fun actually. So yeah, I hope that gives you some more insight into our demo and our plans for the future and our thought processes behind it. Yeah, give the demo a try and check out our Kickstarter page. Thank you, have an awesome day. Bye.